Ever feel like the mountain you want to climb is too steep, that each step feels like a crawl? You stare at the summit, see the clouds, and wonder if you'll ever get there. I've been there, and I'm sure you have too. The secret isn't in a grand, sudden breakthrough. It's hidden in the tiny, almost invisible victories we collect every day. Those are the small wins, and they are the real engine of lasting change. Let me take you back to a rainy Tuesday in 2017. I was stuck in a dead-end job, my side projects gathering dust, and my confidence at an all-time low. One night, after a particularly brutal meeting, I sat at my kitchen table and opened a notebook. I wrote down one tiny habit I could start tomorrow: make my bed every morning. It sounded absurdly simple, almost trivial. Yet I promised myself I would do it for just 1 week. The first morning, I dragged my feet, but I pulled the sheets tight, fluffed the pillows, and stepped back to admire the order. It was a small act, but it sparked something unexpected, a ripple of confidence. The next day, I added another micro-task, a 5-minute stretch before work, then a 10-minute walk after lunch. Each of these actions was tiny, but they accumulated like drops forming a river. By the end of the month, I wasn't just a tidier sleeper. I was a person who could follow through on a promise to himself. Psychologists call this the progress principle. When we see evidence of forward motion, even in the smallest form, our brain releases dopamine, the same chemical that fuels excitement for big achievements. That dopamine reinforces the behavior, making us want to repeat it. It's a feedback loop that transforms a single act of making the bed into a cascade of confidence-building habits. Small wins also protect us from the paralysis of perfectionism. When we set a massive goal, run a marathon, write a novel, launch a startup, the fear of not hitting it perfectly can freeze us. But if we reframe the journey into a series of micro milestones, the pressure evaporates. Imagine you want to write a 300-page book. Instead of staring at the blank manuscript, you commit to writing just 1 page a day. 1 page doesn't sound like much, but after 30 days you have a solid chapter. Those early pages give you proof that you can write, that the story exists, and that you have momentum. The next step becomes easier, and the mountain becomes a series of gentle hills. Take the story of James, a software engineer who dreamed of becoming a marathon runner. He started by walking 5 minutes around his block each morning. After 2 weeks, he added another 5 minutes. Within 3 months, he was jogging for half an hour, then eventually ran his first 10K. He never thought of running a marathon when he laced up his shoes for the first time. He thought only of getting outside for 5 minutes. That tiny commitment was the seed that grew into a 26-mile triumph. James credits his success to celebrating each tiny checkpoint, his first walk, his first jog, his first 5-in, because each celebration reminded his brain that progress was happening. Science backs this up. Research from the University of California, Berkeley, showed that teams that recognized and celebrated small achievements were 30% more likely to meet their larger objectives than teams that only focused on the end goal. The act of acknowledgement creates a sense of psychological safety and collective efficacy. In other words, when we notice the small wins, we convince ourselves and others that success is not only possible, it's already happening. So how do we harness this power in our own lives? First, define a win that is so small it feels almost laughably easy. It could be as simple as drinking a glass of water before breakfast, replying to one overdue email, or writing a single sentence in a journal. The key is that the win must be achievable today, no matter how tired or distracted you feel. Second, make the win visible. Write it on a sticky note, check it off a list, or set a timer that rings when you're done. The visual cue turns an intangible effort into a concrete accomplishment you can point to. Third, celebrate, actually celebrate. That doesn't mean a wild party. It can be a quiet moment of gratitude, a fist pump, or a mental, "Yes, I did it." The celebration signals to your brain that the behavior mattered, reinforcing the habit loop. When you string together dozens, hundreds, even thousands of these tiny victories, you build a hidden reservoir of resilience. On days when the big challenges loom, when the project deadline is looming, or a relationship feels strained, your brain can draw on that reservoir. You remember, "I've succeeded at making my bed every morning for months. I can handle this too." That memory fuels self-efficacy, the belief that you can influence outcomes, which is the cornerstone of peak performance. Think about the last time you felt unstoppable. It probably wasn't because you leapt from zero to hero in a single bound. It was because you had been quietly stacking wins, one after another, until the momentum became a force you couldn't ignore. The power of small wins is not a gimmick. It's a fundamental wiring of our nervous system, a strategy that elite athletes, top CEOs, and everyday creators use without even realizing it now. I want you to try it right now. Grab a pen, open a fresh page, and write down 3 micro wins you can claim today. Maybe it's drink a glass of water before coffee, walk to the mailbox instead of driving, and write 1 line in my project plan. Put that list somewhere you'll see it, on your phone, your fridge, your computer desktop. When you complete each one, pause, smile, and check it off. Feel that tiny spark of dopamine light up. Let it remind you that you are already moving forward, even if the world still looks like a steep climb. Remember, the summit is not a single distant point. It's the sum of every step you take, no matter how small. Embrace the power of small wins, and watch how the mountain reshapes itself beneath your feet. Keep stepping, keep celebrating, and you'll find that the impossible becomes simply possible. Now go, claim those 3 wins, and let the ripple begin.